Leviathan clearly knew that Taylor would be OP with crabs. So before he attacked, he got rid of all the crabs. Welcome to Inchworm,
the podcast in which we're inching through worm. I'm Jenny.
And I'm Ted.
We read Extermination 8.3.
Yeah.
In which there was a lot of extermination.
Yeah, you predicted a down chapter.
I was right.
Yeah. How are you feeling up top?
It's a rough one. Yeah, we lost some people I didn't expect to lose, and we have concern for Tattletale, which we did know after the interlude. It is unclear. I mean, I'm assuming she's not dead. It's unclear to Taylor whether or not she's dead, which I feel like is the big headline of this chapter. But would you like me to tell you what happened in it?
Yeah, I mean, to be clear, a lot happened. It was a pretty complicated
long
fight scene.
Action chapter.
But
so
take
I'll
us
do my
through
best.
it, and, we can zoom in or zoom out as needed on the different beats of the battle.
All right, so at the beginning, people are getting beat up. A lot of people are going down. Taylor wants to help. She tells her armband, she's like, I'm not strong, but I have basic first aid training. Send me somewhere to be helpful. So she gets sent to help someone who's been injured, someone whose leg has been crushed from the knee down. A teenage boy with a metallic bird design on his costume. It's kind of scary because Taylor has to go near Leviathan to get to him, but she helps him walk away from the action. And then a teleporter comes and takes him, and she gets sent by the armband to someone else. This woman whose face is like half scraped off, and she gets someone who's throwing fireballs to come and cauterize it. And he seems really squeamish about that, but she's like, no, this is the way to save her. So they do that. Meanwhile, Alexandria and Dragon are both fighting Leviathan and doing some damage, but not enough. And then we get some of the lesser fighters, as Taylor says, flying in to take some of the heat for a little while. Taylor gets sent to help a man who needs CPR, and someone's trying to give it to him, but they're not doing a good job. So Taylor is able to give it to him and kind of stabilize him. We also get Ballistic throwing things at Leviathan. Narwhal is going in with her force fields. We have Miss Militia shooting at him. The girl with the crossbow and the needle-like bolts is shooting at him and seems to be doing more damage. Taylor has the thought that we're winning, but then a tidal wave comes. She has managed to stabilize this guy with CPR, but she can't move him. He's too out of it to move with her, so she has to abandon him and run to Shielder, who is able to protect her and a dozen other people from the tidal wave. But the tidal wave takes out maybe half the capes. Like, the armbands can't even announce all of the casualties. So then we get Murthan and Eidolon kind of gathering the water. Eidolon turns it to mist, and Murthan kind of shoots it at Leviathan and seems to actually do some damage. And then there's an effort to seal off Leviathan. There are force fields going up. Vista is using her power to alter the buildings and the space. And the armbands warn them that buildings are going to come down imminently. So flyers get all the people off the buildings, the range fighters off the buildings. Bastion is stuck on top of a building, and he yells to do it. And Vista brings the buildings down and then seems like she's really upset because she knows she's probably killed Bastion. Mm-hmm. Then Armsmaster calls everyone forward into the wreckage of PHQ, it turns out. PHQ is kind of blown on top of them. Talk about your symbolism. And then the armbands start announcing the losses, which is how it puts it. It says, losses are as follows, and then it lists a lot of capes. Among them is Tattletale. Mm-hmm. And we don't know what the armband means by losses. Taylor doesn't know. Is Tattletale dead? Is she just down and injured? We don't really know. Maybe the armband was grouping all of the casualties together. Unclear. So Taylor kind of takes stock. She's like, what do I have? There really aren't any bugs that can navigate this storm. I'm kind of useless, or at least my power is. But Leviathan is running, basically. The idea is that he wants to get away and heal, and they don't want him to do that. So Taylor joins the group of capes running after him and leaves. Looks like Eidolon is helping with the wounded. She's like, yeah, I can't really do anything to help them. I'm going to go fight. They manage to get Leviathan sort of penned in. There are 4 exits, all of which are blocked. Sundancer is there. Fog is there. There are a couple of groups of capes. She joins one of the groups. Miss Militia is there shooting some very specific ammunition that we have seen before. Seems like they raided Bakuda's bombs before they shipped her off, and they're shooting some of them at Leviathan. There is a time bomb that Leviathan's leg gets caught in, but he manages to pull it out, and then a few heroes get caught in the time bomb instead, including Dauntless, who is dead. And Miss Militia is down. Then we get Fenya and Menya attacking, and Shielder is trying to help them, and looks like Laser Dream is flying him in the air. But Shielder's reserves are exhausted after saving people from the tidal wave, and Leviathan strikes back, manages to bring down Legend, not dead, but down, then attacks Laser Dream and Shielder and ends up killing Shielder. Laser Dream is okay, but she was trying to shield them, and her force fields aren't as good as Shielder's. But Shielder is dead, and then Leviathan throws himself at Sundancer's little miniature sun and brings her down, not dead, but down, and the sun goes out. And then Leviathan turns on the group that Taylor is in. And a couple of people try to bring him down. They get hit with water. Taylor's arm gets really injured. She slams it against a windowsill, and she can't really use her own armband anymore. Kaiser is putting up metal to try to stop Leviathan. And then what finally happened, which I'd been expecting for several pages, is that Clockblocker touches Leviathan and freezes him. And also freezes his afterimage of water, which is really fascinating. And then Taylor realizes that Clockblocker is stuck in the water and needs rescuing. She tries to yell for someone to rescue him, but a lot of people are yelling about stuff that needs to happen. And she's like, this chaos is what's going to screw us over here. And she realizes she can trust the armband to prioritize, but she can't really use hers because of her arm injury. So she presses the buttons of an armband of someone near her and says Clockblocker's down and needs a teleporter. And Trickster shows up, swaps out with someone else, and ends up swapping Clockblocker for the body of Harold, I think. And Clockblocker's unconscious. So now Leviathan is frozen in time for anywhere between 30 seconds and 10 minutes. We don't know. And Armsmaster makes use of this pause. He is standing there with Murthan, Eidolon, and Chevalier. And people are listening. He says basically, this is not going well. We've lost too many people. He's taken down some of our best. Seems like he's deliberately targeted and eliminated most of the capes who were in Bastion's group. I didn't really understand that. We could talk about it.
Yeah.
And he says basically, like, plan A is not working. He's hurt, but we can't hold him down and hurt him more because we're packed too close together. It's too easy for him to take out too many of us too quickly. He says 2 or 3 minutes of this and there won't be any of us left. 2 or 3 more minutes of this and there won't be any of us left. So his game plan is we're going to spread out, try to kind of stall him, keep him away from the areas where he could do the most damage. Eidolon is going to go and minimize the damage from the waves to the rest of the city. Armsmaster says we're going to organize you guys, put the toughest and strongest closest to this bastard, space out the people who can hurt him, get the weakest ones positioned to pass on word if they see him slip past us. He says, yeah, this is plan B. They're going to stall and hope that Scion notices them.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's not looking good. Like I predicted, it's a down chapter.
Yeah, good summary. I feel like you hit a lot of the biggest moments in a very complicated battle.
Yeah, it's kind of wild, yeah. I feel like I had a couple of big questions.
Sure.
I'm curious why this is going so badly. I guess there's not a lot of like centralized leadership, but like they've fought these things before. Like why weren't they able to do a better job, I guess, is kind of my question.
Interesting, okay.
Yeah, like Legend's obviously done this a bunch of times, but you know, he got brought down and anyone can get unlucky and maybe that's all it is, but I don't know. I feel like they should be able to do better. And one of my other questions is, like, what the heck is Taylor doing there? Like,
she wants to help.
I know she wants to help, but, like, what does she think she can do?
Yeah.
She's like, oh, okay, Eidolon is dealing with the wounded. I'm not going to be any help there. I'm going to go pursue Leviathan. But she just got done thinking, like, my power is no good here. What does she think she can do? And my other question related to that is, what is she going to do? Because I don't know. I mean, I guess it is possible, and it would be like a very bold narrative choice that could be very effective to have her really be useless in this fight.
Yeah, yeah.
And that just be really disheartening and change in a way the stakes of the story and the scope of the story. I mean, the scope of the story has changed drastically in this arc. Like just, what the stakes are, who's involved, like the size of the fight. But how is this going to be Taylor's story, this fight? Or is it this fight just about her helplessness?
That is such a good question. I do completely agree that this chapter, I mean, it's building on what we've seen in Arc 8 so far, but this chapter really felt so much like a reset in terms of Taylor's power level and ability. Like, she has so many moments where she's like, I just felt out of place. Like, I feel like I don't belong here. Maybe everyone feels that way, right? And she thinks about how useless the bugs are in the situation. And I
mean, her power in particular is bad in this situation.
Yeah.
Bugs just cannot withstand a water storm. She forgot about the crabs.
Yeah, there have been no crabs. I mean, presumably they'd be kind of on the edge of her consciousness. Leviathan clearly knew that Taylor would be OP with crabs. So before he attacked, he got rid of all the crabs. No, I don't know. Crabs, no mention yet, but maybe they'll show up. Crab army next chapter. We'll see. But yeah, the idea that she is here and helpless, it really does lends to that feeling of the stakes being so much bigger than she is.
Yeah.
I really liked what you said about it potentially being a bold narrative choice. I mean, no matter where it goes from here...
I mean, it certainly has been, yes.
Right. It's already had the effect of basically saying, like, well, what can one girl do if all of the best heroes of the country, if not the world, are this bad at it, right? And she is so frustrated by it, like you were talking about her reaction to things as it's happening. On the other hand, she saves the lives of 2 capes.
Yeah, that's true.
And after she makes her totally banana pants decision to chase Leviathan,
she does save Clockblocker. That's true. That's not nothing.
Right. So it is right. Like,
she's still having an effect. That's true.
Right. It reminds me of like my experience canvassing in an election. Yeah. It's like, how can you do, how does anything you do make a difference? And it's like, well, I'm pretty sure I convinced like 2 people in New Hampshire to vote in a race where like, the senator I wanted to win only won by like 700 votes. And so like 2 out of 700, like I feel like I can, that matters in a way that sort of like, a lot of the other stuff doesn't. And so, right, it's like, it's not the Hollywood superhero story, but like it's not nothing.
It's not like you were mentioning in a previous episode. It's not Wonder Woman being the one person who can just like win one fight and end World War I.
Yeah, yeah.
It is so funny because Taylor, this is not a chosen one narrative, but Taylor has had an outsized effect on events in Brockton Bay thus far.
Absolutely.
And she's won all her fights, and she's had a lot of really clever tricks. And this arc is just her being completely not the chosen one. Like, she is not special in this crowd. She's one of the absolute weakest. And the question of like, what can one girl do when she doesn't have, like, she has enough of a power to be there. Like, that's why she's there, because she has a power, but she doesn't have enough of a power to make a difference on the scale of the fight. Right. Yeah, what is she going to do? And I wonder, I'm really curious how the narrative's going to engage with that question, because a lot of times when you're writing like certainly if you were writing a more usual length superhero story, you'd want to scale the action to suit your hero. And this is just completely not that. The action is so out of scale with who she is and what she can do. I'm so curious with what the narrative's going to do with that going forward. Is this going to be a question of like, okay, well, how can she affect things on the scale of the Endbringers? Is this going to be more of a, like you were saying, like kind of realizing like, oh, okay, I'm just one canvasser in a crowd and I can only get these 2 votes, but that still matters.
Right.
In what way is this going to spur her on to different choices? Is that even the main purpose of this?
Yeah. It's inviting a lot of narrative questions that are really fun to think about.
We haven't lost Armsmaster yet. We did lose his rival, Dauntless. I was shocked. We never got to find out if his equipment, got lost and he was sent back to square one. But maybe if he hadn't been, he would be alive.
I know. That was so devastating.
Yeah.
There were a lot of really hard-hitting moments. I feel like on a reread...
That was the first moment that I was shocked by.
Yeah.
Because I already knew about Tattletale and I didn't expect... I was disturbed by seeing her listed among losses, but it wasn't really new information.
Yeah, and that was... I thought that was such a nice touch. I mean, the dread of, like, the armbands being like, heavy casualties, please hold. And then just silence. And then you get,
like, I don't want to hear it, but I need to know.
Right. And then you get pages later the list. And like you say, it's losses. And Taylor even points out, well, losses doesn't mean dead, but then she looks out over the bodies and she's like, well, Tattletale's there somewhere, but I can't find her or help her.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's really clever. Like, we should talk about how Taylor gets through this, right? She does a lot of compartmentalization. Mm-hmm. Like, her inner monologue is very much like, this is dangerous. I don't think I should be doing, like, I'm going to die. Well, not going to think about that, right? Like,
she does a lot of, like, despising herself for weakness and cowardice.
Oh, I know.
Like, I mean, it honestly feels stupid that she's, like, not that she's there at all, maybe, because maybe you do just need people to stabilize the wounded, and, but it feels stupid that she's, like, running after the action when she can't contribute to it.
Yeah, let me finish what I was saying about the Tattletale being down, but then let's come back to that. It's great commentary on the cliffhanger itself with Tattletale, that Taylor receives the cliffhanger, is in the same position as the readers, and then is like, well, I hope she's not dead. There's nothing I can do about it. Like, I'm just going to keep going, right? Like, you could imagine if Taylor was a different person, just like, oh no, now all that matters is to save my friend. Uh-huh. That's not Taylor, right? If Tattletale was right there, she probably would. But she correctly determines, got no idea where she is. I have seen that in the wake of this tidal wave, I'm not going to be very helpful at this.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to compartmentalize and come back to this question of Tattletale alive or dead later.
Yeah.
But yeah, you were saying, what's Taylor even doing here?
What's Taylor even doing here? Yeah, I just kept being struck in this battle by, it feels like they're just spending the lives of the capes, like, spending it like water. They didn't have a good chance to organize. Mm-hmm. This is not this is pure defense. This is not a strategic battle plan at all. Mm-hmm. And I can also see why it would happen like this, where you're not going to turn people away because anyone could make a difference and you need everything you have. But it also does feel irresponsible to take all these people who maybe could do good and important things for the world, like they have so much power, and to just put them on the line to be crushed by this Endbringer, when so many of them can't actually do, like people like Taylor can't actually do anything. Yeah. Their powers are really ill-suited to this.
Yeah.
I can see, I don't know how they would do it better, but...
Yeah, but, I totally hear what you're saying, and I do wonder, we obviously haven't seen any other fights. It seems like this is one of the bad days. I certainly hope that this still isn't one of the good days.
I mean, this seems like more than a quarter casualties.
Yeah, but...
I don't know if it's more than a quarter killed, but...
Right. But, when Leviathan was trapped, right, it was this fascinating thing where, 4 exits... Sundancer alone blocks one path. Fog alone blocks one path. Legend above blocks one path. And then there's 2 groups of capes. Uh-huh. Right? And I kind of see what you're saying. Well, what's Taylor doing there? She's actually not helping. But, you could sort of make the argument, it's a slippery slope. It's like, okay, well, the Taylors we send home. And then, the other ones we send home. Right. And then the other ones we send home. And then you might as well not even put up a defense.
There probably is an optimized version where people who actually can't use their powers at all against him, like Taylor, should not be there. And maybe there's, a second tier of, better to keep them home. But, of course, there's no opportunity for optimization of this battle.
Right.
If this were, an army fighting a campaign, they might make decisions to be like, okay, this quarter of people are not going to be good in this kind of fight. We're going to send them home. But that's not the situation they're in.
Right. And Taylor even comments on that. After Clockblocker freezes Leviathan, right, she's shouting, she wants to save Clockblocker. My voice, though, coincided with no less than 5 other cries, all rising to be heard over everyone else, etc., etc. Too many commands from too many people who hadn't fought with or against Clockblocker, who didn't know how his power worked, who had conflicting ideas on what we had to do. This chaos would fuck us over, keep us from accomplishing anything before Leviathan got free. We needed order, and most of the people who could have given it to us were out of action or nowhere nearby.
Yeah, and actually, Armsmaster does step up and provide that. Like, he does well in this fight.
Yeah.
So far, what we've seen.
Yeah, and notable, right, Alexandria down, Legend down.
Yeah.
Armsmaster is the one, not Eidolon, not Murthan or Chevalier. He's the one who gets the rallying speech at the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
He has the authority or presence or charisma or just insight, determination to be the one who's like, hey, we're going to change the plan.
Yeah, and it's his city. It makes sense that he's the one stepping up. Yeah. So I am really curious. I wonder if next chapter, because we don't know how long Leviathan's out, what Armsmaster says is the next thing we're going to do is divide you. I'm like, will they have time? Or will that just mean at the beginning of the next chapter we kind of gloss over like, we got split up and I went this way and oh, Leviathan's awake again, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Or will it be Leviathan wakes up before they even have a chance to do that? I don't know. Really risky.
We did have the like, Legends doing the plan, but we got interrupted beat already.
Yeah, right. So maybe they'll get to carry this one out.
Yeah.
So I was listening. I've been listening to our episodes, and I've been behind, and I just listened to the interlude before this arc with Miss Militia's experience seeing the cosmic being that seemingly gave her power. And hearing that description, now having a better sense of what the Endbringers are, I came up with a new idea of like what this cosmic being is and the Endbringers are, like kind of their relationship. Because Miss Militia said, oh, it's dying. And I kind of dismissed that at the time of like, oh, okay, oh, it's like sloughing off bits of itself. Oh, okay, that seems like it's dying. Sure, whatever. Like, I wonder if, I don't know that it's like a god. I feel like it's probably more of like an Animorphs Elemist figure. Like, seemingly all-powerful, but mostly it's just like existing on a higher plane.
Sure, yeah.
Having way more power than any human being, but not necessarily a religious figure. What if this is this like incredibly powerful being that has been containing the Endbringers or created the Endbringers, is their enemy, something like that.
Interesting.
And now it knows that it's dying, and maybe it started dying or realized it was dying in the 80s when Scion first showed up. And in preparation for its death, disappearance, you know, to compensate for what it can't do for humanity anymore, it was maybe playing some sort of invisible protector role, either of humanity specifically or like keeping the Endbringers away from other beings. Now that it knows it can't do that, it's too weak, or it's not going to be able to do it for long. I mean, clearly it's not doing it now if that was its task. It is giving bits of itself to humanity so that they can play that role instead.
Interesting.
And maybe it can only give bits of itself to humanity or to a person when that person is in extremis, like in whatever most intense experience they've ever had. And so that's why we've been getting more and more parahumans, because this thing is trying to disperse its powers before it dies. And that's why all the powers we've seen have been good, because it's like, you know, people have been sort of God-touched. And
it's with a specific purpose, in their theory.
Yes, to fight these monsters, demons, aliens, you know, I don't really know the cosmology here, but these non-human, non-Earth native, probably, creatures that this godlike creature can't protect them from anymore. And it's funny that, like, now that humanity has, like, gotten this idea, maybe the Case 53s, it's, like, creating its own parahumans as well, but... Yeah. And I wonder, because Scion showed up as the first one, we don't know if Scion was originally human. It's possible that this godlike creature gave too much of itself to Scion, and Scion like kind of ceased to be human. And now the godlike creature is like, oh, that was too far. Okay, no, I need to create humans that are extra powerful, but like also still human. And so now the powers are, a little bit more moderated.
Interesting.
And now they're also self-perpetuating. Like capes have kids who are capes. So if this god creature dies completely and can't create, and like no one can have new trigger events, then there will still be parahumans who are born of other parahumans. So this is sort of a transitional time for humanity where like whatever this cosmic being is like giving powers to create this sort of new subset of humanity who are parahumans, who are supposed to protect against the Endbringers, but unfortunately are really bad at it.
Well, it's a different way of just looking at the term parahuman also, the way you're kind of talking about it in almost a transhuman sense. Yeah, I mean, I find a lot of that theory very compelling. I feel like...
See how it plays out.
There's not a lot that I can respond to.
No.
I do really like the sort of, like, it's a cycle of like, oh, this being is granting powers, and then people are sort of like trying to imitate it. That's a really fun thematic element if it goes in that direction. But lots of really good stuff there. I guess one of the things I wanted to ask about, sort of connecting to that, like, did your impression of Leviathan change at all in this chapter? Like, I'm curious kind of like what you think his motive or the Endbringers' motives are, both at a big scale, but also just like in this fight. Like, kind of, did you have an impression of him? Like, what's he trying to do? Yeah.
I don't really feel like I have much of like a sense, like a theory of mind for him.
Yeah. He
doesn't make noise, which was really interesting. Taylor was saying, like, you kind of expect, like, I don't know, like kind of Godzilla-like.
Yeah, exactly.
Screams or whatever. But no, he's totally silent. And it seems like he has tactical intelligence in terms of escaping from the fight. We don't necessarily see much that connotes strategy, but Armsmaster said, like, he's been deliberately targeting Bastion's team, which I don't really know what that means.
Bastion's team was the team with Vista in it, the people who do force fields and can kind of control the battlefield.
I thought that he meant like Bastion's team that Bastion flew in with. Like,
right, no, when they divided up.
Yeah,
I think that's the implication.
Okay, that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that at least, it underscores he's smart and like was able to identify very quickly, these are the capes that are doing stuff that I care most about stopping.
Mm-hmm.
The other
strongly defensive capes.
Right. The other thing that I was thinking about is like, well, what did your knowledge of Tattletale's intel bring to this chapter, if anything?
Yeah, there was the part where Taylor was saying like, well, I guess like cutting off his protective covering has to be good, but we know from Tattletale
we know it's not.
Subsequent layers are like, exponentially harder going in.
And I couldn't tell, like, there were some things, like, there's this like dark ichor that is leaking out of him, and I couldn't tell, it's like, are those genuine injuries or not, because his organs are like in weird places. Taylor does observe, right, like I think Narwhal's force field goes in deep, and that's when the ichor first spouts off, and you were talking about the like needle crossbow.
Arrows,
like those were going particularly deep. And so like deep is good, right? Like as far as we can tell. But that guy with the chainsaw axe who's like cutting off his skin, it's like that probably seems incredibly ineffective. And connecting back to kind of what you were saying is, why are the heroes so bad at this?
Yeah.
Right? We already know something.
That the heroes none of them know.
That nobody knows, right? Like, it's probably not the case that Legend knows, well, we can only hurt them if we go really deep, right? Like,
but it gets harder and harder.
Right. So, like, we know, and we have that privileged information, and you were sort of saying Murthan and Eidolon did this cool combo where they turn the water into mist and then hit Leviathan, and he gets totally knocked down. And it's like, it seemed like it was really effective. Really effective at moving Leviathan, but is it the case that only deep cuts are effective? Are the sort of like...
And there were like some slightly weaker spots. It was like the top of the arms or something and the legs.
Alexandria has she's so cool, incredibly cool move where like Leviathan sends his after image at her, and she, like she's swinging a baseball bat, just like cracks through it and then grabs Leviathan around the neck and just throws him to the ground.
Yeah, that's not going to hurt him, though.
Right, that's not going to hurt. Right, like it keeps him pinned in one place. But like what we have learned just from Tattletale's interlude is that like skin surface damage is not going to do it because he doesn't have biology in the way that you would imagine looking at a big lizard guy. You know, he would have that biology. And then Alexandria again, she's so tough. She's one of the toughest capes at all. It seems like Leviathan tries to drown her, and then we don't really see her come back for a round 2.
Yeah, maybe, I mean, she might... She's not dead. We didn't actually hear that she was down.
She's not down, but like Taylor says, like, oh, she's up, she's staggering. You know, like,
maybe she needs some time to regroup.
Right. And I guess that's also what you're saying. Like, Legend, his lasers are so cool. There's a great description of how they work in this chapter, like, you know, zipping around all of the water and stuff. But then again, he can buy them like 3 minutes. Yeah. Just him. And then he needs to go take a break. And then it's like, oh, and now 20 people go in and half of them die. Right? Like that's the part that's so frustrating to see. Yeah. Right? They don't have anything better at this point.
Like several pages before this happened, I was like, does Clockblocker's power not work on him?
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, but would that really be effective? Because you can't hurt him while it's happening. I was like, no, but they need to regroup. And then it did happen. I was so pleased.
Yeah. But they didn't know before this fight. I can't admit Clockblocker's so young. I would be surprised if he'd done this before. Never faced, right? Yeah. So now they know. But also he almost died doing it, right? Yeah. And as we saw, like, if Laser Dream tried to fly him in and drop him on Leviathan or something, maybe Leviathan just knocks him out of the sky and kills him, right? Like, you know, it's
true.
How do you weaponize Clockblocker?
You know, subtly and effectively, yeah.
And if Leviathan's smart enough to know that, you know, to target Bastion, etc., maybe next time he's smart enough to target Clockblocker, right? Yeah. Like that's also really scary.
Yeah. That's okay. Clockblocker can wear Aegis's costume again.
Yes, we'll see if something like that works. The other thing that I wanted to bring up with Leviathan is like he does seem to be hurt and like he's running, but then when they get him penned in, when he decides to jump up and take out Legend, then he immediately takes out like everybody else. Yeah. Right? And it's like what is that instinct? Is it I am genuinely trapped and I'm biding my time because I know, like, it doesn't make sense for me to take out Sundancer and run because I really need to take out Legend first. And so it's like, as soon as Leviathan takes out Legend, like, he can go. Or is it kind of like, I guess, how much pressure is Leviathan feeling?
Yeah, I kind of think of him as, like, you know, person walking through field runs into, like, cloud of stinging flies and is like, oh no, oh man, they're in my eyes, oh, okay, they're after me, oh, this is so annoying. Like, that's the kind of level of, like...
Yeah, I think that's kind of what I'm getting at.
Yeah. They are doing damage to him, they are hurting him, but, like, he's not worried.
Yeah.
I don't think at all.
Right.
What they really need is someone with a very specialized power of, like, boring holes. Or, like, opening up vacuums inside something. It's someone who is not limited by the Manton effect.
Yeah.
Like, someone who doesn't have to go through the surface, or whose power is just, like, creating a tunnel through a thing.
That's interesting, because we did see Narwhal draw Icar, and Narwhal is someone who can get through the Manton effect. Yeah. So that's an interesting...
I mean, Faultline's thing, like, Faultline, if she were able to get past the Manton effect, would be able to slice an Endbringer in two.
Yeah.
There you are.
Well, and talk about, you know, we're sort of like, oh, Faultline wants to, like, level up her power. I mean, like, talk about a motivation, right? Like, if you're imagining what is Taylor's purpose in the grand scheme of things, right? Faultline's, you know, got to be at least 5, maybe 10 years older, right? And what she's doing is working as a mercenary and trying to break the Manton effect in her spare time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But yeah, I feel like there are probably, like, Clockblocker's power feels like a cheat code.
Yes.
And I feel like there are, like, powers have been cheat codes so far in this story, and none of the cheat codes have worked against Leviathan. Clockblocker's has worked better than anyone else's, but even his is only enough to buy them time.
Right.
So where are the capes who have the very specific powers that are cheat codes for the physiology that Tattletale saw? And do they even know that that's the physiology they have to oppose? Like, certainly not. I imagine if you had the ability to, like, open open up a hole inside of a person, then you would try it on Leviathan, even without knowing about the, like, subsequently harder layers of his exterior or whatever.
Yeah.
But they don't know how important that aspect is.
Yeah. And maybe they'll never know.
Because
Tattletale never had a chance to tell anyone.
She's your favorite character because she died so young. It's going to be rough. Gonna miss her.
Were there other... You said that Dauntless going down was a big moment for you. Were there other moments that hit you on the way through?
The whole sequence with Taylor saving Clockblocker and Trickster showing up was great.
Yes. While we're talking about him, what the fuck, Trickster?
He shows up and he says, "I apologize for desecrating your body, brave hero." He's looking down at the cape who's dead. "You do good work even in death." And Taylor's like, was he mentally cracked?
Well, I also he's being really weird, but also Taylor is in addition to being weirded out, being like, this isn't efficient enough. Don't talk. Right? And
I mean, she's right.
She's already thought to herself several times, I didn't apologize to the hero I gave CPR to because it was a waste of breath. I didn't say anything. She's thought multiple times, whatever. I'm not going to communicate if I don't have to.
Peculiar way of observing the world.
Exactly.
Yeah, let me just see what else was... Shielder dying felt like a blow. He'd been really useful so far in the battle. He was someone we'd heard of before, never seen, and then he was really clutch, and so him being down felt like a blow.
That was...
Him dying, actually, devastating.
Yeah. He is so heroic, right? And also he's he's Taylor's age, basically, we learned. And he makes the call with the tidal wave, right? He saves Taylor. He saves Taylor and a dozen other capes. And he has to make that hard call where he brings up the force field and another cape who's running in doesn't make it. And the tidal wave just crushes them against the shield, which is awful, devastating. And then he and Laser Dream are, covering Legend basically at the end there. And they get captured together. And we learn a little bit about family powers.
Yeah.
Photon Mom has balanced powers.
I think you mean Lady Photon.
Sorry. Lady Photon has balanced powers. Laser Dream is good at flying and lasers, and Shielder's good at shielding, and they're sort of weaker at the other aspect.
Right.
And so just because Laser Dream, she's less caught and she has the laser, she can blast herself out.
And fly.
And fly
Shielder
away.
Can't do that.
And Shielder just gets, torn in half, basically.
Yeah, and she is trying to shield both of them, but her shielding isn't good enough.
Yeah. There's the beat where, Laser Dream screams right after. Yeah. It sounds awful. And, like you were saying, the potential...
I was paging through. I thought we were talking about Dauntless. Dauntless is the one who had the potential to be, the greatest fighter of all time once
sure.
power built up. I mean, but any young cape is all about potential.
Yeah. And, I mean, it's also, Shielder... Clockblocker, right? It could have been the same if not for Taylor, right? And also the Vista Bastion interaction was one that jumped out at me as hitting kind of hard, because you have Vista basically being like, these buildings are going down, and then hesitating because she sees Bastion there. Bastion being like, do it already. And then Taylor sees Vista bring the buildings down and then turn to cry into somebody else's arms. And it's like, again,
12-year-old kid.
Exactly. Vista, youngest cape, she just, probably killed Bastion. It is intentionally for the greater good, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, the kid's suffering is, awful. And I also, it's interesting, I wonder, Bastion, the only thing we know about him is that he was recently canceled.
We don't even know his power.
I wonder, well, he's, I guess, with
force fields
and stuff. But I also wonder how much it was in that moment, he's like, well, maybe Redemption. I can save my legacy by, dying. Right? It's sort of I feel like there's a little bit of that.
Maybe.
That's also another reason why you show up to something like this. Yeah. Right? It's like die a hero rather than live long enough to be a villain, right? He kind of missed the window, but maybe he's hoping. Maybe he's hoping that he'll be remembered for his sacrifice and not the racist thing he said.
Also, this is a reason for villains to show up. I mean, the heroes are not going to be perhaps as vicious against them if they've fought side by side. Taylor just saved Clockblocker's life. I guess she really did repay him.
I was going to ask that. Yeah, does this make up for it?
This definitely makes up for it, but he also might not know it happened. So it doesn't matter.
I know how easy he is to suffocate from personal experience.
Yeah, no, I think she
Though,
vindicated herself against him, but he doesn't know.
Is he going to know? Right.
No,
yeah, he's not going to know, right? Who's going to tell him, right?
We did also get a ruthless Taylor moment in this where she has the woman she's trying to save whose face is like half missing, basically.
Yes.
And she looks around for someone with fire and she sees, I think she dubs him like Green Fire. She doesn't know his actual name. She's like, hey, is there anything about your fire that's like radioactive or damaging and he's like, well, it's fire. She's like, okay, great. I need you to cauterize this woman's face. And he's like, no, oh my gosh. And she's like, if you don't, she will die of blood loss. It's going to get infected. It's, you need to do this. And so he does. And it's clearly really hard for him. And we see that like, it's not like nothing is hard for Taylor, but like she just isn't squeamish about that stuff.
Yeah.
Like cutting out Loong's eye. She's like, nope, we need to cauterize this woman's face. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Don't waste time.
I loved that moment. Right. And it's so illuminating because it shares the same brutality of the violence that she inflicts on Loong and others. But it highlights how it's just cold rationality to her. Right.
She sees the bright, clear line.
Right. She is saving this woman's life by cauterizing her face off with a fireball. And not off, but cauterizing her face with a fireball. This scene is so good. So again, just your Green Fire, let's call him, shooting fireballs at Leviathan.
Yeah.
And suddenly this visor with yellow eyes, hair appears.
Ambient bugs.
Your fire, is it radioactive? Is it anything special? Extra dangerous? And Taylor thinks, he gave me a look. Right? I mean, I love it. I love it. Yeah, but actually the part before that was also amazing. She is thinking like, okay, wow, this woman is so wounded. She's not responding. I didn't bring any first aid supplies. I should have. The stuff that I have is ruined by the water, but they wouldn't have helped anyway. And then she looks up, right? Her inventory is useless. But then she looks around at all the other capes and is like, I will be adding green fireballs to my inventory. And she goes over and gets this guy, to come over. And that is on a very, very, very small scale. That's like what the heroes need to be doing better, right?
Yeah,
like it's
using each other's... Yeah, she does it later in sort of a less spectacular way. When she can't use her own armband because her arm is too injured, she grabs the other woman's arm and the woman's like, what, are you moving me around? What's going on? And Taylor's like, stay still, and like uses the buttons.
Right, and that's also, I mean, Taylor escalates in this chapter. She starts out... It's so fun because, right, we're 8 arcs in and we sort of get the reset Taylor back to arc 1. Yeah. But in this chapter, she like starts leveling up again. Because she starts out like, she's like, I can't fly, but I do know first aid and I'm not strong. Like, tell me what to do. And then she goes and she saves that one guy. And there's a bit where she's like, like if I hadn't been running for months, I definitely wouldn't be able to help, right? But like she's able to help and it's such slow progress. Just she's like, well, we're moving away from Leviathan, but not quite as fast as he's catching up to us. And then like ribbon flyer teleporter girl shows up and takes that guy away. And then you get the second one where she does the green fire maneuver, right? Mm-hmm. You get the guy with CPR who she loses to the tidal wave. Yeah. And then you get this bit at the end where she saves Clockblocker. But here, right, I reached for the person next to me, grabbed her wrist. Some woman with a crescent moon on a blue costume. She gave me a startled look with a lost, shell-shocked expression. When I first pressed against the communications button, she moved her arm, as if she thought I was guiding her movements. Stay still! I snarled at her. Right? She's completely gone to like, I am moving your body around, right? She's not like, oh, excuse me, can I use your armband? Like, excuse me, can you cauterize this woman's face, right? Like, she is rapidly getting more confident, I guess, and more able to, use the tools, including the other people, at her disposal. Yeah.
We saw that in the second fight against Loong, where she was like using the members of her team. She does sort of get into this very practical mind space where she's like, okay, you go do this. And it's not necessarily leadership in the sense of like inspiring people, but it is taking command of the situation, just seeing what needs to be done and just seeing the other people as tools to make that happen.
Yeah. Yeah. And we had the beat last chapter where it's like, oh, well, Taylor fought Lung, and how did she beat Lung the first time? Well, she didn't. We saved her. But how did she beat Lung the second time? She had that amazing combo, the caterpillar neuter blood combo, right? So, like, you know, give her another bite at the apple. Give her a chance to, like...
That's what I want to have happen against
do
the
some
Endbringer.
Stuff where she is prepared, right? Like, we know that Taylor is good at preparing and good at figuring out this stuff.
But she's so unprepared. Everyone's unprepared for this fight.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that as we get closer to the end of the arc, she'll find her footing and manage to pull off something cool. Because I would enjoy seeing that.
That would be cool. I can't deny that would be cool.
I want to mention, this is really just a side note. It made me really sad. The guy with CPR, she just described him every time as like the fat man. I don't think we even got a description of his like outfit or anything. That was like the only descriptor of him. I guess we found out that he had armor on. I don't think that fat has to be a pejorative word. It can just be a descriptor. But like the fact that that was what he was reduced to and then he died, it was just like, it made me really sad that was the descriptor for him.
Yeah. I can see that, especially as, like, if that's the descriptor and he's the one that can't be saved, sort of a... Yeah. Especially what we've seen of, like, fat phobia in the narrative so far. It just, it was a bummer. Yeah, it's a good thing to note. I did really enjoy the description of the first guy who's trying to help that man was a man with a Princess Bride style mask over the upper half of his head, a goatee, chainmail lined mantle, and a shotgun 3 times the normal size. And then he gets described in the next paragraph as Shotgun Wesley. Yes. Loved that. That's so good. And like, yeah, that guy sucked. Gave up on the CPR. He just wasn't good at it. Taylor was better at CPR. It's fine. Yeah. I did like the writing of, like, Taylor having to do this, like, salty, vomity CPR. Really horrifying. Yeah. Very vivid. Yeah, one of many just good procedural details. Like, all the injuries are really brutal, and the first aid is really brutal. Like, we've talked about cauterizing the face and stuff like that. I mean, it's just, I feel like it's kind of obvious, but for the sake of saying it, like, this is like a war scene, right? Oh, and we're getting that, like, the battlefield medicine and... The sudden horrible casualties. The sudden deaths, right? There's no rhyme or reason to it, right? The fact that they're fighting a kaiju and they all have superpowers, like, makes it a little bit elevated. But, like, Wild Bow is, like, taking it down to that gritty level. And especially because Taylor doesn't have superpowers in this. Like, her powers are completely useless. Yeah, great point. Really cool that they had Bakuda's bombs. Yes, I love that. I did have another thought, though, of, like, it's too bad that the Undersiders couldn't, like, have told them about the time bomb. Like, if that was, like, too... Like, I don't know if it was, like, Miss Militia's, like, time to use the grenades because they got to do something, or if she miscalculated and was like, well, the time bomb is, like, worth the risk, right? And it just didn't aim exactly right. Yeah, because just, like, if Leviathan happens to bounce the grenade back at you, then you're dead forever. You know, like, it's... Yeah. But, I mean, again, they're throwing everything against the wall here. Yeah. But, yeah, I thought that was very cool. But, you know, another instance of, like, the readers know. Right? It's like, uh-oh, this is bad. I am still completely baffled by what the heck the wizard thing means. So Taylor sees, so Eidolon, because I guess he can have everyone's powers, is like turning the water into mist, and then Murthan is like spinning it into a ball at the end of his staff or whatever, and Taylor says, like, seeing that, I could almost like buy the whole wizard thing. And I was like, what does that mean? Everyone here has superpowers. Yeah. Like, what makes his thing a wizard thing rather than just another kind of superpower? I mean, it's clearly the aesthetic, right? I guess the aesthetic. And I think it's right. Like, he's powerful enough that Taylor's like, this just defies, right? And the chapter begins with that. As tough or invincible as we are, like, most capes are still hemmed in by the restrictions and boundaries of physics. Yeah. Leviathan is not, right? She talks about, like, the water echo, and it's just like, how is he just generating, you know, like 3 times his body mass in water every time he moves, right? It just doesn't make any sense. And I think what she's saying is, like, what Murthan's doing feels like it's at that level, right? Like, you can sort of understand how physics applies to Alexandria, even though she's the toughest one in the setting, right? I don't know. I'm not sure I buy that distinction. But... Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's how Taylor sees those kinds of things. Or it's also, it does seem to be a distinction that's drawn in the world, where some people are like, oh yes, my superpower is magic. And you're like, what does that mean? Okay. Yeah. Well, I feel like we don't know enough about what Murthan does. Yeah. Taylor's looking at it and being like, kind of seems like magic. You mentioned it, but like the PHQ washing up on shore was another big moment for me of like, wow.
No longer floating on the water or in the air.
Yeah.
Because it is floating on the water in a way.
Yeah. This may be why I didn't over-index on where it was floating, because it gets destroyed in this chapter, and we didn't really spend any time there.
Yeah, 14% of the way through the story. That's true, we never went there.
I think Hannah and Armsmaster were there last chapter.
Taylor never went there.
Taylor never went there. Yeah, we just some small things. Like, I did like Taylor's not the only one helping, especially early on in the fight. She sees, like, she's like, oh, there's someone who's too wounded for me to help. And then someone else warps in and gets them out, right? Like, I do like the Taylors around the edges of things are contributing, right? And like, you know, if 2/3 of the people who are down pull through, like, that's great. That's really good. Yeah. You know, still casualties, but much better than deaths. Yeah, I guess the last thing I wanted to say is just, again, it's another really well-written chapter. Yeah. It's a really long combat scene.
Very easy to follow.
It's very easy to follow. And it's easy to follow what's going on with Leviathan and what's going on with Taylor. There's one bit that I just wanted to call out. When Leviathan, I think, is fighting Dragon and, like, breaking off plates from the mech, his next swipe took off another, and it careened a good 20 feet before landing with a heavy splash, close enough to me that I was caught in the spray, right? We've just had, like, pages of Leviathan versus Tough Capes, and then you get this bit where Dragon's armor comes off and flies towards Taylor and splashes her, and then we're following Taylor again, right? Like, it's such a nice transition, and very cinematic. And I feel like there were a lot of, you know, beats in the writing that were just kind of effective. Obviously can't go through all of them. Like, the image of Clockblocker and Leviathan frozen in place was another one that jumped out as like, oh, I can just see this perfectly. Yeah, it's good stuff. I mean, what do you think of their plan? What do you think's going to happen next?
I want Taylor to find Tattletale.
Okay.
That's what I want. I don't know if it'll happen, but I think before we end the arc, Taylor will be able to be effective against Leviathan in some way.
Interesting. Okay.
Maybe that's too much to ask, but I just want that to happen.
Do you have a pitch for how?
I still want her to realize that he's like a crawly thing and she can manipulate his body. That's probably too easy.
Would be cool. Would be very cool.
Yeah. I don't know if there's any way her bugs can be effective. Maybe if she finds Tattletale, Tattletale can find her a way to get, like, stinging insects into his core.
Ooh, okay.
That would be cool. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't quite make sense, but...
Yeah. Like a bee stinging a quote-unquote core doesn't necessarily sound that effective, but it could be cool.
But it could be that his organs are so well protected because they're really fragile.
That's a great point. Yeah. I like your optimistic thinking.
Yeah.
That's very good. I can tell you the first sentence of the next...
Is there no cape names?
Chapter. Oh, yeah, there are no new cape names.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's because everyone lives from here on out.
Yeah, probably true.
I mean, maybe Scion shows up.
Yeah, could be.
And then it's just, you know, dealing with casualties. See? I would love to hear the first sentence.
I got my orders and left behind a bazaar.
Scene of Leviathan frozen in midair.
You got the word scene.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, so she does get her orders. That's great. So I guess Leviathan is frozen for longer than 30 seconds, and they're able to split up and spread out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see next time.
On Inchworm. Worm is a web serial by J.C. McCrae. You can read Worm at parahumans.wordpress.com and support the author at patreon.com/wildbow. Follow us on Tumblr and Blue Sky at Inchworm Podcast, or find our Discord link and any other updates on inchwormpodcast.com.